Stand by. Today is February the 22nd, 1994. I'm Blake Hailey, and we're pleased to have with us Mr. Felix Ankele, a man very active in the community and has a little bit to do with the osteopathic profession with us today. Thank you, Mr. Ankele, for joining us.
Thank you.
We're making this video in the Biomed Communications Center at the Gibson D. Lewis Library of the University of North Texas Health Science Center here in Fort Worth. Now that I've said that long introduction, Mr. Ankele, I'd like, if you could, to give us a little background on your life, if you will, and feel free to start anywhere you'd like.
Well, let's start from my working career, which has been the last somewhat, well, I won't say how many, but a long time. Anyway, I'm a native Fort Worthian. Attended Central High School. That gives you my age quite readily instead of Pascal. Attended TCU, and then went to work for Continental Oil Company in the offices in Fort Worth. And from there, I went to Wichita Falls, went to Nocona. I was in the production end of it, by the way, and then out to the Red River on the camp of the Continental Oil Company, and then I was transferred to Midland, Texas, where I established a production office where we did our drilling and producing of oil wells for West Texas, New Mexico. And then my home is Fort Worth, my wife's home is Fort Worth, so I was, and I always use the word, I was conned into leaving the oil company and go to work for a flower shop, Gordon Boswell Flowers. That was my father-in-law.
Oh.
So from then on it became a career in Fort Worth of another era. And it was very interesting to change from sublime to ridiculous, ridiculous to sublime. I've never realized what it was yet.
How long were you with the oil company, did you say?
I was with them 10 years.
10 years? And then you came into the flower business.
The flower business, Had a good job, but it was a little intriguing to think that I had 2 children then, and I could bring them back to Fort Worth to be educated, and my wife's, my family and my wife's family were all here, so it just looked like an opportunity to reestablish myself and know where I would be the rest of my life.
Well, are your kids also from Fort Worth as well?
They're all Fort Worthians. They've all finished the same high junior high school, high schools, and each attended the university of their choice, so they're all here, and 3 live in Fort Worth now.
Oh, excellent. I've noticed that you're very active in the community. And I'd like, if you would, to go into some of the various activities and things that you do for the community. Now, how you have time to work in the flower shop, I don't know, from what I understand from your other experiences.
That was what my wife used to say, as well as my boss, Mr. Boswell. How do you do all that? You're supposed to work here. I did. I was director of FTD, that's the major wire association of the world. And I went to Detroit twice a month. But it was always a short stay. After a board meeting, I'd come back, and I always got my 40 to 60 hours a week, every week, at Gordon Boswell's. And I've been active in most everything. The Chamber of Commerce, I was on the board, executive committee of Chamber of Commerce for about 8 or 9 years. I've chaired most every committee in the Chamber of Commerce, including the Convention Visitors Bureau, pardon me, and sportsman, pardon me, I had to hunt and fish a lot. I mean, that's my life too. And I was head of the Sportsman's Club of Fort Worth. We had game dinners, and well, I've been a little active in most everything I've done. I'm past president of the, in fact, I helped organize the South Fort Worth Rotary Club.
Oh, you did?
I was president of that. And then I've been secretary on the board at the Downtown Chamber of Commerce Rotary Club. Couple of different terms, still active in the Rotary, and whatever comes along. And then somehow, someone talked me into going to a luncheon. In fact, I've been to 2 luncheons here to acquaint me with the world of osteopathy. And then someone said, come to a luncheon, said they'd have delicious food, and I thought, there are no free lunches. But I attended anyway, and happened to be the formation of the Endowment Board of the Healthcare of Texas.
Now, who got you involved? Who got you to come to one of those free lunches?
Well, I think is Dr. Beckwith, who's in the Air Power Council. I've also been president of the Air Power Council for the Air Power Council. Dr. J. Beckwith is a past president. So he had a little influence, and Herman Studi, who's on the board at the hospital across the street. And that free lunch, and was said to understand what it was all about. When I found out what it was all about, I was on the board.
So it wasn't a free lunch, huh?
It's been a very interesting thing. I became acquainted with the hospital, a number of doctors, and I was aware because I'm a native Fort Worth, and I saw what had been out on the hill. We used to call this the hill out here, that little thing on top of the hill, and watched it progress from it was not a very outstanding hospital or school to one of the finest that I've ever known. I've been a patient at the osteopathic hospital, and it was a delightful stay in spite of the troubles I had, and I've become acquainted with the other doctors, and I find in all the fields that it's just been a revelation to me.
So I take it then your physician, or at one time, was a DO, or you had some direct experience
I
then?
have, Dr. Beckwith is still my gastroenterologist. Dr. Brenner, whether he's a cardiologist or not, but he directs my little heart every once in a while. And Dr. Jordan, let's see. In fact, I know a lot of them. And they all became good friends, and I became very close to their medical abilities, and still very impressed.
What are some of the things that you are able to do and are interested in doing for and on the foundation, since you had that free lunch?
Well, our little group, and I say our little group, we did raise enough money for the, isn't it terrible? It was only $900,000 we raised to put in the hyperbaric chamber. And so we're fairly active in our meetings to what we can do, and not only we're raising money, that's endowment's thing in life, but also to acquaint people with the osteopathic medicine.
So you kind of have to go out and get some community support then, it sounds like.
We do.
What do you have to do in that area to get people to notice, well, TCOM or the Health Science Center?
Well,
and the hospital as well.
That's just, of course, I was real proud because TCOM was just a part of before I even knew about the hospital, coming over with Dr. Richards. And many years ago, we'd come for acquainting ourselves with the facilities you have here. So I was very pleased when you became the University of North Texas Health Science Center. I thought, boy, now that's more than TCOM. So
it's a mouthful to say.
It's a mouthful, but I'm very proud of the fact that I'm within this part. I know Dr. Richards. He's a good civic man also, besides heading quite an institution. I see him in a number of places that I attend, and I think he does a great job in furthering what you do here. And I like to. I think I'm a native Fort Worthian, as I've told you. I'm proud of Fort Worth, and anything I can do to watch it grow and enhance itself. And I think this is a great thing, our university here.
So the community is fairly receptive then to the school, and you were on the chamber, you said on the board of directors. Have you been able to give a little influence as far as getting the osteopathic name across in that regard?
I never fail to drop a name when I have an opportunity. And anytime I could make a discussion on what we had done or where we were going, and of course, being a name dropper, I like to say I know Dr. Richards when he did something or does something. Yes, I did have an opportunity to. I hope I did well enough that they remember. And your North Texas Chancellor President,
Dr. Hurley.
Dr. Hurley is an old military man, so we got to discuss quite a bit about our Air Power Council in Carswell Air Force Base. So yes, I've been very happy to be part of it.
What types of things have you, backtracking just a bit, have you been involved in with the Chamber and other organizations? What other kinds of interests do you have that you kind of put your hand into?
Well, of course, there's always been the United Way, the Red Cross. I was an officer's vice chairman of the American Red Cross here in Fort Worth, their chapter. My wife once made a bio for me, and I was a little embarrassed with it. She was more proud of me, but Now also in my civic affairs, rather than trying to enumerate anything, but I was given the honor as the outstanding member of the Florida Telegraph Delivery Association by being the member of that, as well as my civic achievements. So, and out of 26,000 members, I felt honored
That's
that
quite an honor.
they recognized my civic abilities.
You sound like the kind of person that would probably want to avoid some of that, I bet.
Well, right now it's trying to see what can I do without. But it's still a pleasure. I mean, I enjoy people, I enjoy the association. Again, I'm a true Fort Worthian at heart, and I love to see where we are progressing, and this is one of the things that will help us do it.
Where do you mentioned the point that you see us progressing and you'd love to see that. Where do you see the osteopathic profession going in Fort Worth, and what would you like to see the school and the hospital and so forth do? What achievements would you like to see them make?
I think watching the growth of the school here, what it has become in the city itself, watching the hospital, what it has achieved, and I watched it grow into something that's proud to be even a patient in it. And I think we have a lot of PR or advertising to do so far as the facilities here are concerned. But now it's an easy matter to bring that up in a conversation that I have been involved in something of this kind. In other words, I'm not a great exponent of conversation, but when it comes to these, I like to talk about it.
Mm-hmm. What types of things do you have any recommendations that you could think of as far as?
Well, frankly, in my business, involved in civic affairs is part of it, and I think I like to see the people within the university here, Science Center,
Mm-hmm.
become involved locally, civically, and I think that's the main thing to let it be known that you are here and what you're doing. And I see Dr. Richards quite often at functions, and they participate in the various social activities. Mm-hmm. And I say social activities, they're fundraisers. The Jewel Charity Ball, the Symphony Ball, the Ballet Ball, everything's coming up. There's fundraisers, but the presence of people from here, I think, will do worlds of good.
Well, I guess if these, Dr. Richards and some of the people go to these fundraisers, possibility in return, when the school has some kind of fundraiser, you would get the same support from those?
You get support from those people. They have to know who you are and what you are. I think your event you had for Gib Lewis, mm-hmm. Name of the library, I believe it's the Gibson D. Lewis Library now.
Right.
I think that was great. It was a good affair. I saw a lot of good people here that will always remember being in your beautiful structure here. A lot of people don't know about it.
I guess there again, it's just the fact that some people are not out in the community. And do you think that the relationship with the city leaders is that part of a problem, or?
It's not a problem. It's an effort that you have to make. You had business after hours, I believe, in your atrium 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, may have been. I think I was chairman of the membership at the time. And that was good. We had a lot of people, a few substantial people that came and got to see what you have. And you have to have some kind of event to show who you are and what you are.
Are there any experiences that you can think of that in any of your organizations or anything that you're involved in you'd like to bring up? Some interesting stories, perhaps?
Oh, I'm not a good storyteller. I told all the stories I could think of. I've been pheasant hunting the last 4 days, and I'm out.
So you do a lot of hunting, huh?
I used to do a lot of hunting. It's been slowed down, but this was a nice affair that we go up to the Wisconsin-Illinois border to a beautiful lodge, and we hunt from there. But hunting and fishing, that's been part of my life, although I've curtailed a lot of that. I like to travel now.
Mm-hmm. So it's kind of recreation and relaxation to travel and that kind of thing. Get away.
That's my R&R. That's right.
Well, I do appreciate you taking time out. Are there any thoughts that you would like to give us before we finish up?
Honestly, they don't ever say I'm at a loss for words, but really, to be constructive in it, I just feel like I hope you can be out within the community And that's what we try to do on the Endowment Board. That's our job, is to acquaint people. And I believe you have a board here of some nature that I think should be your spokespeoples for something of that kind.
Are there some fundraisers that your board has coming up? You mentioned the one you had earlier. Are there some others that you're looking into?
Not at this time. I'm too involved in every fundraiser in Fort Worth now. But that's part of life. And I've been to everything that the National Fundraising Associations have, telling you how to do it and what to do. And if you have an endowment board here, I think they should be a member of it and become acquainted. All we heard was there's a lot of money out there if you can get it.
It sounds like some people probably could use some of your advice, it sounds like. Give them a few ideas.
No, I don't think my idea is any good. It's just, by the way, I was on the endowment board of the AFE, American Floral Endowment. It's the major endowment for the floral industry of the United States.
I didn't know they had such.
That's a big one. Well, we don't go out into the communities. We do that within our own industry, but we have, I served on that for 9 years and chaired it for 3 years. It has a substantial endowment, and that's what we get all of the research for the floral industry from that. Each year we allocate, $200,000 or $300,000 for different research projects within the floral industry. So I'm on the Texas State Floral Endowment Board now too.
Oh my.
So local, national, state, but it's I'm not a good fundraiser, but I enjoy doing it because I like the people that I work with.
Well, I'd have to. It sounds like to me you are a good fundraiser from what I'm hearing, and from you and from other people. I think you really have a knack for it. You just you don't want to admit it.
No, I think they say, Felix, you're just in it. You're not a fundraiser. You're a fundraiser. So they leave the D off and say that's your profession.
Do you ever see yourself going back to the oil business after all this?
No, I still have a little producing well or two out in West Texas I have an interest in, so I haven't lost touch with it yet. So far as technically, I sure have. It's a big, different thing that they're in now.
Well, I don't know if you have time to go back into the...
Not into the realities of it. It's just in watching what's happening in the price of oil and how costly it is to drill a well now compared to what we used to do it years ago.
Well, I do appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to meet with us. I know when I talked to you a while back about setting this up, you had several irons in the fire, and do appreciate your time. Are there any final comments you want to make?
Well, no, but I appreciate being an opportunity. If I can ever be of any help within your area, I'd be happy to do it. It's I'll have a little more time, I think, now that I'm not involved in my work completely. My two daughters do that, most of it for me, but I appreciate having an opportunity to discuss a little something about it. Again, I'm real proud of what we have in Fort Worth in the Science Center here. And I just hope we can and you can get the word out that we have something that's just not as rare in Texas.
It does seem like it's that is one of the things you always have to keep overcoming, is keeping your name in front of people.
Keep it in front of people,
And again, I do appreciate you taking
well, thank
your
you for
time.
letting me be here.
And I know that these comments will be definitely valuable in later use, and do appreciate it.
Well,
and sorry we could not help you out also with all the makeup artist that you requested. We just
Did I do that again?
Yeah, we couldn't find one, but we do appreciate it. Thank you again, and have a good afternoon.
Thank you very much.